I'd like to begin quoting an answer you gave to a question in an interview several years ago. You were asked, how would you most like to be remembered? And you said, I'd like to be remembered as someone who was smart in business, worked hard, could be sexy, and a mom. And the businesses that you're involved with, you're making an announcement today on a new venture. But whether it's a Kim Kardashian Hollywood game that we did a Forbes cover story on a year ago, phenomenally successful, where a lot of other entertainers stumbled on that one. We could discuss why you succeeded more than the others. Things like emojis, $1.99, those are emojis with Kim. Whether it's books, workout videos, which obviously I need, fragrances, and the like. Number of businesses. So where did this passion for business come from? Was it genetic? How did it happen?
Yeah, I think I saw from really good examples of both of my parents who worked really hard. Growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so I saw my dad get up every day and go to the office. And kind of in my later years, when my mom married my stepdad, I saw her find this passion of figuring out how to become his agent and manager and really figure it out when life wasn't so glamorous, and just really figure it out. And so seeing both of those great examples really put something inside of me that just gave me this passion to want to figure it out. And I worked for my dad in his office. I've worked in a clothing store since I was 15, and I had maybe not the most glamorous jobs of burning CDs and pressing CDs in his record company. But all of those experiences were so amazing, and I just learned so much every single day working alongside my dad.
So as a teenager, you combined seeing him as an entrepreneur and also in the entertainment business.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and with your mother then, she really had to start from scratch to do what she did. So you learned you don't have to have an MBA to go out and learn something and do something.
Absolutely. I mean, she was such a good example. I mean, she was a flight attendant in her 20s or late teens, and figuring out how to be a manager, an agent, a secretary, doing it all, and really hustling and just figuring out how to make this amazing speaker's business. At the time, it was Bruce, so Bruce would do motivational speaking, and my mom really figured out how to create this business. And as a kid, seeing them work and on the phones and running around and everything was in home, you really got a sense of how hard it is, and it just really motivated me.
One of the things entrepreneurs will tell you, and you're going to tell us, is that you learn a lot by doing. And you've done a lot of licensing deals over the years, including, as we were discussing, cupcakes.
Yes.
But now you're consolidating, you're expanding, but you're now focusing more where you are truly in charge. Can you tell us the migration out of licensing to the focus 4 areas that you're focused on today?
Yes, I find it really powerful. I found power in saying yes to so many things, and I would work on so many projects, whether it's from tanning to a shoe company to cupcakes, like you were saying, fitness videos. I mean, I did everything, and I thought that was really powerful in trying everything that I could to figure out what I liked. I learned so much along the way, but now, since I've taken 10 years to do all of that and do anything and everything, I could sit back. And I think I was kind of this year or last year forced into a situation that made me really want to stop, being in the public eye and stop being on social media. And I took that time off and that experience to figure out, what do I want to do? I've worked for 10 years in these licensing deals, and I mean, if I break it all down, I mean, the percentage that you would get from a licensing deal, and then splitting everything with my 2 sisters, so that's 3 ways. And then I thought, we work so hard to be getting so little. And it might seem all great and there's all these false information out there and numbers, and I really wanted to create a business on my own, and I know that was going to take a lot of hard work, but my husband Kanye and I started our kids clothing line, Kids Supply, and that is all online, because I know, moms that are so busy and working so hard, they might not have time to go to the stores, and so I was really, proud to start this business with my husband. You're asking what the 4 businesses are. My Kimoji and Kimoji merch. I love doing that app. And my makeup line that I announced today, KKW Beauty, that will be all online as well. And in the same beauty world, I'm launching a fragrance at the end of the year. And these are all projects that I'm doing full ownership, every last detail from the box to the packaging to the being in the factories and feeling every, packaging detail I'm 100% involved in, and that's so prideful for me. I feel really proud to have tried everything and then really focused in on the projects that I know I can really put 100% of my time into.
In a moment, I'd like to just discuss, for example, what you did with Kim Kardashian Hollywood. The months of time you spent on those details, detail after detail that you never see in public, but which makes a difference between mediocrity and a meteoric success. But let's start. Your businesses today came from the brand you developed, your personal iconic brand, one of the most powerful in the world. First, how did you decide to go for reality TV, which really launched the thing, take the risk there? I know as a youngster you liked to watch MTV and there. So what were the origins and what made you decide to take the plunge?
Well, I think it was 1989. My best friend and I were watching The Real World, and I joked to her, that's it. When we're older, when we're big, that's what I want to do for my job. I want to be on a reality show. And that was like the first reality show. And so cut to our producers produced that show. So I feel like it all came full circle. I was kind of joking at the time. But when we got the actual opportunity to do the reality show, I thought it would be great to promote our store. We have a clothing store called Dash, and I thought it would be great to just promote the store. And so that's kind of why we got into it. Not knowing that, we're starting to film season 14, and we literally didn't think anyone would probably be interested after season 1 or 2. We were, so it's such a fun surprise, and it's the main project that I get to work and see my family every single day.
So you said season 14. How have you sustained it when you thought maybe 2 seasons, and then this is going to run out of gas?
Well, right when we think we've run out of gas, someone will get pregnant, get married, get divorced. It's always so unexpected and so crazy just to, every family member kind of has a season, or we go up and down when someone's kind of having a hard time. The whole family kind of knows, okay, let's kick in extra high gear to give that person a break, or let's, so it's kind of just interesting to see how every season just kind of goes up and down for every family member.
Well, it's certainly true, and the last 2 episodes of this season certainly surprised me when the way, there's true reality, true drama, the way you took after your former stepfather, now Caitlyn Jenner,
yes,
for the book she wrote and the way she treated your mother. You made it clear to your stepsister, she hadn't read it, that this is something she ought to know about. You commiserated with your mother. That was dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
Gutsy on TV. You took him to task.
Yeah, it's real life. Yeah, it's just, I think the one thing that I'm really proud of is when we first started the show, my mom said to all of us, okay, if we're going to do this, we should all give it 100%. Let's show everything. Let's be as honest and open as we possibly can. And we have the power to edit out things. And so I think just knowing that, we gave everything, thinking okay, well, we just won't show that. And then by the time they edited it and it aired, or was going to air, and we watched it, that story had been in the tabloids but completely twisted. So we're like, no, we want to show our story. Let's show this. So there actually really hasn't been anything that we've removed from the show. And I think that's what keeps it so real is, or you'll hear stories in the tabloids, but then you kind of tune in to want to know what really did happen or what's our side of the story.
Well, in the season finale, again, my youngest daughter, we have 5 daughters, took me to task when I told her I was going to bring that last episode up because she taped it but hasn't seen it yet. So, spoiler alert. You for medical reasons, you cannot risk having a baby.
Yes.
And so, therefore, you talked to your sister, and it was Chloe, about being a surrogate mother.
Yes.
That's dramatic enough. And then she goes with you to the doctor, and there was a possibility she discovered she might not be able to have children. Spoiler alert, sorry, but it's a happy ending, at least on Chloe's part.
Yes.
They took her off the birth control, and she's
and
okay.
it all worked out,
But,
yeah.
See, this stuff captures everyone, you know.
I'm happy it worked out for Chloe, and I have 2 beautiful children, so I'm happy and content. And if it works out for us to expand, I'll be just as happy, but I'm also really content.
Well, give us your take on why reality TV has such a big impact on popular culture. You've been the gold standard of it in the sense of durability and keen ongoing interest. A lot have tried it and faltered. But why do you think it's had such an impact on the popular culture?
I think because it's so real. I know a lot of people sometimes don't understand reality TV or want to hate on it, and we're not actors, so it's shouldn't be respected type of mentality. I see that a lot, and I'm really proud to be on a reality show, and I love to, at the end of the day, I feel like it's the new, like how a lot of people don't understand social media and they can't quite grasp it, or my mom tries really hard. She's really good at it. But, for a while, she's couldn't really figure it out. So I think
like a second language.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's how reality TV kind of is looked at. And so I'm so proud to be on a show. I get to work with my family every single day. It brings us so much closer together. And it really has helped us, honestly, get through so many crazy things that's gone on in our lives. And we get to, you definitely have to have a thick skin once you see the episode air, and it might bring up a fight or drama that you've already gotten over. You have to relive that again. But I think it's very entertaining, just reality TV in general. I'm a fan of it. And I'm proud to be on our show.
Well, you've parlayed the success there into becoming one of the most powerful figures on social media. The numbers are astonishing. 30 million Facebook likes, 51 million Twitter followers, almost 100 million Instagram followers.
101.
101, okay. Got to keep up every hour. But what do you think what have you found to be the most critical rules or factors for being successful on social media? Because again, you've so outpaced all the others, so.
Yeah, I think that being authentic and sharing your world with people is definitely really exciting, especially if you have a brand. I think it's the most amazing tool that's been invented to help brands and to help get your brand out there. With everything, I think you have to set boundaries. I know that hopefully, when my kids grow up, they're a little too young for social media now, but I will set boundaries, and I think it's different for every parent in every household. But just when I was growing up, we had to turn our TV off at a certain hour, or, I think there should be boundaries so you don't get too wrapped up in it. But I do believe that it's such a powerful tool. It's so important when you're building your brand. And I think each platform really is different for different purposes. I think you can use Snapchat to really show your everyday life. So let's say I'm following my makeup. I would go to the factory and Snapchat the whole process of how you pick everything out and I think people really get to see that world. I think Facebook has a great sell-through, click-through response, and it's great to promote. The audience on Facebook is major. Twitter, I love the conversation with people. I think what people don't do enough in their brands, I think people love to promote, but for me, I listen a lot. And I love that conversation with the people that I follow, and I really take their advice. It's the most amazing focus group, and I love that on Twitter you can have that, conversation back and forth. And Instagram, I love to, post photos, and you can be really artistic on Instagram. But I think the most important thing is being authentic and listening.
So some specific experience, what have you found in these new platforms and tools? And you've articulated how each one is different, how you see each one meeting a certain purpose. What have you found has worked, and what have you found hasn't worked from all of that experience?
I think that doing anything and everything, and I'm guilty of that before, people probably won't believe you. And you probably don't even really grasp now, if I'm going to promote something, I have to use it, I have to like it, I have to be active with it. I want to know the partners, I want to know who owns the company, I want to know so much about it, and I love to be loyal to that company and just do what's authentic to me. But I tried so many things in the past, and I think through all of that experience, you just learn what you like and what you love. And but I think the key on social media is just being authentic.
So you've learned, instead of a shotgun, to be more of a focused, instead of all over the place.
Absolutely.
How do you decide what to post? What is it? Just what
it's
you
such
got?
a struggle. No, it really is. If people think you just post and it's so easy, it's not. I like my Instagram to look a certain way, and I'm really a lunatic about it, because sometimes there is so much pressure to post too. If I go to Japan and we just want to have a media-free vacation and have a great birthday trip, it's the upkeep. Then we tried, Kanye and I woke up at 3 a.m. and we couldn't sleep, and I said, let's go into, in this town in Tokyo where it's all these bright lights, and let's go take all these pictures, and I could post them on social media. It'll look so cool. And we tried to do it, and it was such a mess, and he just was not the best photographer, and I was like, you ruined what my social media was gonna look like. So we scrapped that shoot, but we got the good experience. So the pressure is definitely there.
You've talked about sharpening your focus on your businesses, but of course everyone comes to you with the words, have we got a deal for you? How do you now evaluate opportunities and potential things to do, now that you've had this experience in which to say, no, this is just not going to work, this is something I want to pursue? Because it must be a tsunami of stuff coming in.
Yeah, I think being an owner is very important to me. And now I feel like I've put the time in, and I've been fortunate, and I've saved my money, which is, I think hard to do when so many things are thrown at you. And I've taken that and I've reinvested that into the new businesses that I'm starting on my own. And so there's not a whole lot of room. It really has to catch my attention if it's going to be a new project that I'm going to work on, and I have to have major ownership, major input. There's nothing, that I would do now if I didn't have creative control and if I wasn't in charge. I was at a fragrance shoot the other day, and the photographer is a friend of mine, and I had always dreamed of working with him. And I was saying to him, usually the boss comes up and looks at the screen and all of the photos, and they have to approve them, and do they like this look? And if they don't, we have to go reshoot it. And we looked at each other, and he's like, you're the boss. Do you like this? And it was such a proud moment, just knowing that I put that all together. I was making all the calls to get the whole team together and hired a creative director, and it was such a proud moment, just knowing like, wow, I used to work for these people and I would show up and do whatever they said and wanted, and now I was in control and I'm the one making the shots and saying exactly what I want the picture to look like, and it's my vision. And that, you know, there's those moments when you just sit back and look at the photos, and I'll call my sisters and be like, I can't believe like this is happening. I did it like on my own. It's an exciting
Sounds liberating.
time. Yeah, I feel like I really took the time off to figure out what I wanted, who I wanted to be, and so proud that I'm in this position now.
Discuss for a moment the successful, which we did the cover story on, Kim Kardashian, Hollywood, the app, the game, where you start with a low list and go up to the A list. What's amazing is that first it's free, but you only get the money if people are so into it, they're willing to pay for certain things. And and then you spend all the time on things like storylines and outfits. Can you describe the months you just went into this, whereas so many other entertainers say, oh, that's good, let the experts do it, and I'm on to the next thing. Walk us just a little bit through what you did to make this thing work.
Well, the video game was presented to me, and at first, I will admit that this did kind of fall into my lap. I wasn't really sure. My husband was the one that encouraged me, oh, that's so cool, you have to have a video game, this is so cool. And so once I got into it, and once I realized what the character was gonna look like, it didn't really look like me. I sent it to a friend that's a graphic artist that works on other video games, and he redrew it for me and sent me all the notes of what exactly it should look like. And once I started to get into the creative process, I feel like I was hooked. I mean, I'll call them literally in the middle of the night and say, the strap of the shoe is wrong on this character. You have to change her shoes. Like, I would never wear those shoes. And they'll fix it. And I think that having such another thing in business, what I've learned is I love to be in business with people that I love and that are good people. Like, that to me is really important. And the Glue team, Glue Mobile is who did my video game. They are so great to work with. And I think just having that personal relationship with the head of the app team is just, you know, he always says, it's, you know, we work with so many people, and sometimes you have to get to the agent, and then the agent has to call the assistant, and then the assistant would call me, and I'm like, I don't work like that. Here's my cell phone, here's my email, I'm gonna send you pictures all night long, so, you know, this is what I want, this hairstyle, and this, and the game. Now I've had a baby, so you should be able to have a baby in the game. Like, I think we really did create a reality video game. And that, I think, what is so connecting, because I'll be in Mexico, and in the game you can go to Mexico the same day.
That's one of the things the others have not done, is you've been very careful to synchronize what you're actually doing with what's happening in the game.
Yeah, I think that it actually happened, you know, maybe a year into doing the game, and it was so fascinating to see the players be in Mexico and me be in Mexico at the same time. So now I love to give my schedule out, and I'll say, okay, we're going to Cuba, we're going to Armenia, and we try to sync in exactly what we'll be doing in those cities, as, you know, as far a lead time out as you possibly can, and it's really worked for us.
You mentioned before how you once felt you had to do everything, everyone was seemingly controlling you, even though you're nominally in charge. How do you have a sense now of exposure but not overexposure, so that you don't undermine your own brand as so many others have done?
Yeah, I think it's really hard. You know, you do have to, and if you go in one of my rooms in my house, I have these big whiteboards up, and it's these grids of all my projects, what I'm doing, the dates everything comes out, all the launches, just so that I can try to spread it all out. I do think that some of my brands, like Kimoji, is kind of more of a different side of my personality, and not even, you know, some aspects that aren't even like my personality, and so that I feel has its own area. And my beauty world, I feel like, is one area. So I think I'm doing a good job at separating it all and showing different facets of my personality.
So how do you manage time? You're a mother. You've made it
Yes.
very clear they're going to have a lot of time. You have the public appearances, the travel, the TV, the emojis, which you mentioned, which you choose each one, hundreds of them now.
Yeah.
How do you manage it and not burn out?
I think if anyone said they did it on their own, they would be lying. I have a great team. I have, I definitely work 24/7, but I used to do appearances all over the place, and I don't really do that anymore. So I love to stay home and focus on everything. And so much of my kids line, I've learned just from making clothes for our own kids. So that just seems natural. So that whole line has been planned out like a year in advance of everything that's going to be coming out. And I think planning, preparing, and having a really good team behind you is key.
And how do you find time to brainstorm, where you can just shut everything out and take a pause and say, okay, maybe I ought to re-examine this?
Well, I think I do take time for myself, and I think that's very important. And even going to Japan and seeing so many amazing things, I got so many great ideas. And when you do take time for yourself, that's when like the magic happens and these ideas come. And I think no matter who you are, what you do, if you don't take time for yourself, you can never rejuvenate and you can never get back that creative spark. So I do take time off, and I do get a lot of ideas from my travels and just being around people that give me ideas and inspire me. So I think that is really important. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night sometimes with these ideas, and I'll just send it to my team and hopefully not wake them all up in the middle of the night. But sometimes I feel like you can't turn it off.
Where do you see yourself 5 years down the road?
Hopefully I will still be doing what I'm doing. I really hope to focus on the new brands that I've been launching this year. And I feel like those are all my little babies that I've focused, I feel like my whole career has been leading up to this year of these launches to where it's like really authentically me. So I don't really want to expand into doing a whole lot of other things. I really want to focus on what I'm doing now that I feel like I found my place, and just continue to do that.
We all know what happened last November in Paris, where you were robbed, and what was truly frightening reading about it was, even though these guys had planned it, they were amateurs, they were armed. You could easily have been killed, and for a month it took time to recover. How did you manage that, knowing that you don't want to be overexposed, but you have to somehow keep the show going while you're recovering from something that could have cost you your life?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, my show was amazing. They said, you don't have to film, you can shut down. And I did take a couple weeks where I just had to get myself together, but I find it powerful to be able to share my experience. And we would film so many things just on an iPhone, and so many things that I had gone through without the full camera crew, and used that because I did want people to see, that happened to me. It could have been way worse, so I feel really lucky and blessed. And taking that time off, whether that forced me to take time off to regroup, that was necessary. And that was also necessary, from what I've read from the people that had done that to me. They had said they had followed my moves on social media, and they knew my every move and what I had. And so it's definitely a huge lesson for me to not show off some of the things that I have. It was a huge lesson to me to not show off where I go sometimes. If I'm at a restaurant, I won't show, or if I'm at the movies and I do want to share that experience, I'll take the picture and save it and post it after I leave. It's just changed my whole life, but I think for the better. And I think that in life, those things happen to you in hopes that you learn some things that'll change your life for the better. And in my case, it really did.
Now, in closing, when you appeared on the cover of Forbes a year ago, you tweeted, not bad for a girl with no talent, which is quite an irony given the obvious talents you have.
Oh, thank you.
What do you say to those who downplay or dismiss your success, or you just have the feeling that success is the best revenge? Are you able to be like the duck, just let it roll off the back?
I do let it roll off my back. I do feel like success is the best revenge. Absolutely. To say that I'm not human, for people to always say crazy, mean things, I mean, it definitely does get to me. But I think that with the support of my family, we've always kind of come through on the other side. But to write that, I remember I was thinking, you don't want to be boastful and say, I'm on the cover of Forbes, this is, so amazing, which you do want to say, but of course people will say something negative about that. So I thought it was funny, just the little hashtag for people that might question how I got here or what talent I have. I was like, I'm on the cover of Forbes, so I must be doing something right.
In closing, your late father said, family is everything. Always know your heritage.
Yes.
Could you just share with us the story of how your great-grandparents survived in the Armenian genocide, the boy who came to the church?
Oh, yes. So we actually just went to Armenia, so I'm sure I hope this story is real, because it's a story that we grew up hearing from my dad and my grandparents, that there was a boy in the town that they lived in Armenia. And
this was in 1914, just as the war was breaking out, and Turkey was on the side or the Ottoman Empire was on the side of Germany and Austria-Hungary.
And the boy couldn't read or write, and he came back. He went to the church and brought a letter that he had written, this long letter that said, for everyone in Armenia, go to Los Angeles, California. And everyone thought, this is crazy. We don't even know what California is. We don't know where this is. This boy, they thought he was just crazy. And my great-grandparents, so I guess it would be my great-great-grandparents, they listened to the boy, and they came to Los Angeles, California. And within a year, 1.5 million Armenians were massacred and killed in Armenia. And my great-grandparents got out as young kids because of this boy's story. So they say, this could be total, don't really quote me on this, but they say in the Armenian community that this boy has written another letter, and it's in a church in Los Angeles, I think. And whenever the time is right, someone will go and open this letter of where to go next. So, I don't know.
It's an amazing story, and sadly, the Armenian genocide is still relatively unknown. And when Adolf Hitler was planning his genocide against the Jews of Europe, Hitler said, who remembers the Armenians?
Yep.
And so we'd like to give you, Kim, for spending some time with us, a little presentation. This is a book called Armenia and Her People.
Wow.
From 1896, so it's about 120 years old.
Oh, wow.
And describes Armenia, but it also has a chapter in here about what happened in 1896, which was a sort of a bloody foretelling of what was going to happen, of riots committed against the Armenian people, killing thousands. And this author describes it, and with the hope that this was just a one-on instead of, sadly, portending of the horrors to come in 1915. So we'd like to present this book to you.
Thank you so much. This is such a cool gift. Wow.
And one final thing.
It's in English, not in Armenian.
No, I couldn't read Armenian, so I took the English version. But
thank you so much for that.
And also, we know you admire Elizabeth Taylor. You interviewed her once, and you were inspired by her, and she was a great friend of the family.
Oh, wow.
So, of your family, too. And so we thought you'd enjoy this contract, written, signed in 1945, when Elizabeth Taylor was 13 years old, to do something for the war effort, the Victory Committee, Entertainment of Lowe's Incorporated, signed by her as a 13-year-old and signed by what I guess you'd call her mom manager, her mother, Sarah Taylor. and signed on Elizabeth Taylor's 13th birthday. So we thought
Oh,
we'd like to have a
wow.
copy of that
That's
contract.
so special. That's amazing. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
And thank you for sharing your time with us. I think
course.
people have a greater appreciation of what you've done and are doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.